All right, so this was the Nearpod I assigned for Wednesday night's homework. And we're just going to go over a couple of the basics just to make sure, just to remind you of what we're doing. First of all, your first step in your notebook was to label your coordinates, okay? So you're going to label those, and then I have the formula up here, which is so nice and helpful. All right, so make sure you see that up there too. And then we're going to set this up in the formula. So when I have you guys work this out today, and we did this yesterday, I want you to always set your formula up first before you start plugging in anything. Okay? Easy peasy, right? Then let's go ahead and plug some data in. So as I do this, make sure I have here, I'm going to first start my y minus my y, my x minus my x. So you always have to go left to right. You start with this first point. What's your y? My y is 10. Why did I put that there? Y minus y. So that's the first y. What's the second y? 4. Okay. Do the next one. 7. What's 7 minus, what's the next x? 6. And then you go ahead and just go for it. And you're going to do 10 minus 4 is 6. If you need a calculator, use it. I don't care at all. 7 minus 6 is 1. And 6 over 1 is the same as just saying 6. They're both the same. They're both correct. Okay? Cool. Now let's do one that we need a calculator for. So let me try to find one that's going to be a little more intense. This is from your homework. And let's do these two. So when we set it up again, I want to see the formula. And guess what? The formula is not up here anymore. But if you remember it was y minus y over x minus x. Okay? Now I'm also going to have the calculator open. And you should have it as a bookmark. I'm going to click here. I have my calculator right here. I'm going to move it down a little bit. So when I need it, it's right here for me. I'll make it a little smaller so I can deal with it. And when I go back to this, let's go ahead and, oops, that's the wrong one. Let's go to this. I'm going to plug it in. And what am I going to plug in? This is x and y. This is x and y. Okay? So then I have 5 minus 8. And then I have 1 minus 2. All right? So then I get negative 3. Oops, Mr. Marusik, you went too fast. So let me slow down. Look what I have here. 5 minus 8, 1 minus 2. I want to go to the calculator and type it in. 5 minus 8. Negative 3. Okay? And then it's 1 minus 2. Negative 1. And this is my fraction. All right? You see this data here? It's the same data you see right here. 5 minus 8, 1 minus 2. So it's negative 3 over negative 1. But the rule, when we divide negatives, the rule is when you divide two negatives here, they go away. They become a positive. So it's actually positive 3 over 1, which looks better as just positive 3. All right? Let's do one more. Let's see. Is this one too crazy? I wanted to do one with negatives. This one has some negatives, which is good. Let me see. How about this one? We're having trouble with tables because we don't understand what they look like. We haven't really dealt with much of them or many of them here. But let's go ahead and, when you look at a table, this is a bunch of x values and y values. Where else have you seen x and y's? Well, as points, right? So think of it this way. This is a point. Negative 2, 3 is a point. Negative 1, 5 is a point. 0, 7 is a point. 1, 9, 2, 11. So what if I did this way? If I drew a comma, is it easier to look at? All right? So that's the first point we're going to use. You can pick any points you want. I just chose the first two. Any points, it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to do another one here. This is also a point. Negative 1 and 5. All right? That's also a coordinate. You're going to set this up. Remember x, y, and x, y. And then I'm going to set this formula up, and then you're going to see me choose a different color because I want to make sure you understand. I set the formula up, but I'm going to use a different color. We'll get Christmassy here. 3 is my y minus 5. And then what? Negative 2, x minus x, negative 1. So look at all these negative signs on the bottom. There's a lot going on here. So let's do the top one on our calculator first. It's 3 minus 5. I get negative 2. 3 minus 5, negative 2. Now all this nonsense. Negative 2 minus a negative 1. Negative 2, negative 1. Is that what it looks like? It sure does. All of that turns into negative 1. Use your calculator wisely. And what did I say? 2 negatives equals a positive. If it's just 1 negative, it would stay negative. But if it's 2, it turns positive. Okay? All right, now let's get into some graphing. Take a look at this one. Negative 2, y equals 3x minus 2. This is the slope, the 3, and I'm going to even make it 3 over 1. Okay? And this is the y-intercept. Let me tell you real quick. The first thing you do, this is the first thing you do. You take this negative 2 and you put it where it crosses the y. This is your y-axis. So the y-intercept is going to be at negative 2. So where's negative 2 on this graph? On the y? Right here. So that's where your point's going to go. Negative 2. That's the first point. Where's the second point going to go? All right. It's 3 over 1. 3 over 1 is my slope. It's a positive slope, so it's going to rise and it's going to run. So let's go ahead and do that. From this point, 1, 2, 3, and over 1. And there's your line. If I asked you what the y-intercept is, you'd say negative 2. Okay? All right. Let's do another graph. All right, this one's important. It says write the equation out. Write the equation. We don't want you to think of it that crazy. When you start to have to write the equation, let me just help you out. You're going to have to do this, y equals, this is the whole equation. We're going to go into it next week. And you're also going to have to give me this, okay? Now, what are those things? This is the slope. This is the y-intercept. So this is where I want you to start. Where does it cross the y-axis, the y-intercept? This is the y. Where does it cross the y? At positive 4. Positive 4 is part of your equation. Okay? That's the end of your equation. That's your y-intercept. Put that in your brain. Positive 4, where it touches the y. Now what you need to do is you need to find another point on this line where it connects. This is an exact point. This is not a point. If we keep going here, that's not a point. That's not a point either. But this right here, that's a point because it's right. You guys see it's right in the middle of the grid. That's why it's a point. Okay? And what are we going to be doing? We're going to go down 1, 2, 3. Down 3 means negative. When you fall down, it's negative. And then run 2. Negative 3 over 2. All right? Do the best you can with this. This is kind of some of your homework tonight. Up 1 over 1. So the slope would be 1. Down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So do the best you can with these questions. What's the slope here? Up 2 over 7. Okay? Hopefully this is helpful. I will check in with you guys later on in next class.